Are you tired of paying too much for repair? Not up the tire.
We carry nearly all brands of tires,
including Michelin, Continental, Bridgestone, and Mastercraft.
and we have one of the largest inventories in Genesee County.
Basic quote, we will beat it.
We offer many services including lifts, wheels, engines, brakes, and more.
Plus, on most of our jobs, we offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty.
Come see our family at Delta Tire.
Where we'll save you money.
Barbecue Beast sauces are made from scratch using quality ingredients to create a truly delicious barbecue taste. Try our original Beast sauce, sweet with a kick. Turn up the heat with Spicy Beast, Hot Beast, and Carolina Beast. Or experience the award-winning taste of our Curry Beast and On the Bay Beast sauces. Owned and operated locally by the power of women veterans, these quality sauces are versatile and made for everyone. Great for grilling and the perfect way to complement your favorite foods. Barbecue Beast, the exceptional barbecue sauce.
Alrighty, who is ready for Daytona International Speedway? Seeing some amazing cup cars take on restrictor plate racing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is myself and Matt in the booth tonight. Matt, are you ready for this crazy action?
Yeah. Man, the nighttime is the right time for Racers Elite to fire it up in prime time. I love restrictor plate racing. How do you make it better? You throw some money into the mix. Get ready, strap yourselves, lock in. Make sure Grandma's got plenty of kernel-free popcorn because it's about to get rowdy here in the House of Speed.
And that is for sure, especially knowing we've watched quite a few racers last night. This is a special event. You said money is on the table. We've done a little bit of this last night, watching all 3 different type of cars out there. But tonight, we are only in one car, the Next Gen Cup cars. But money is on the table, and we have a lot of drivers here tonight that is wanting to win them some money. And that's what it's exciting. All 3 podium positions tonight win something, and that's where we don't know what's going to happen, because when there's money on the table, drivers do a little bit different things that we're not used to. And Matt, I think we might see that here tonight.
I can almost guarantee you there will be drama, high-flying, octane racing action on the racetrack, and you hit the nail on the head. You throw a little money on the line, and drivers, they're going to go outside of their comfort zone, and they're going to do some things out there tonight that they typically wouldn't do on the racetrack, and sometimes you never know what that's going to lead to out there on the racetrack, but I can promise you this, it's going to be wild, fast, and furious from the green flag to the checkered flag, and we're going to have all the coverage right here on Redline Racing Network.
And that is for sure. I've seen multiple different events, charity events. I've actually seen, Matt, at Talladega. We've had 7 wide at the finish. We didn't know who actually finished because we had a car going backwards to actually finish the race in first place. And that's what was crazy it's Daytona. You could still go 5 wide here at the finish at the end of this thing. We may have a nail biter. Who knows? We might see the big one we always see at Talladega and Daytona. And why not? Why don't we see it? We have one fast repair here tonight.
Got one mulligan, one joker in your back pocket should trouble find you here tonight. But that's it. After that, you better put that into your strategy because, as you said, restrictor plate racing, well, if you put a race car on the racetrack, you have a legitimate shot to win it. However, she can take that away from you quick, fast, and in a hurry, something these drivers all need to pay attention to and keep that in the back of their mind.
That is for sure. Well, let's go through the starting grid here tonight and see where we've seen some drivers last night. Where are they going to start tonight? So in row number 1, we have Alex and Nathan. In row number 2, starting here tonight, we have Truth and Bobby. In row number 3, we have Billy and Bradley. In row number 4, we have Richard and Brandon. In row number 5, we have Terry and Brian. In row number 6, we have Kinsley and Rick. In row number 7, we have Joshua and Rick. In row number 8, we have Sean and Dale. In row number 9, we have Andrew and Mark. In row number 10 tonight, we have Andrew and Trevor. In row number 11, we have Jimmy and Jesse. In row number 12, we have Steven and Robert. In row number 13, we have Kevin and Kirby. And last but not least, in row number 14, we have Hugh.
And as you said, last but not least, Hugh Escobar is going to start in the back of the pack. That means 27 drivers going to take the initial green flag here tonight. And Brandon, as you know, snag a podium, snag some cash. Nothing else matters but putting it inside the top 3. And right now, it's the calm before the storm. Because in a few moments, this race is going to transform into a Category 5 hurricane. So make sure to strap yourself in and hang on for the ride right here on Redline Racing Network.
Well, our track information here tonight, Daytona, 2.48 miles long. We are going 248 miles tonight. Track temperature, 75 degrees and about 1.6 mile per hour north wind here at Daytona International Speedway. So Matt, with being track temperature a little bit cooler than what we saw last night at Daytona, because air temperature is only 73, the best part, lower temps, but we are nighttime racing, and that's what I love to see.
The nighttime is the right time to fire it up, and these drivers are going to do that. Those cooler temps, as you mentioned, these cars are going to be making all the power they possibly can out of these next-gen V8 engines, and it's going to be lean, green, and mean out here as this field now works into the turns 3 and 4 complex.
Well, and what's so awesome, we have 27 drivers that are fighting for some money on the table tonight. This is a big field. Anything can happen, but here's the we're doing 100 laps here tonight, and you do not want to make a mistake. Why not? We may see some aggressive moves, but we might see a couple drivers conservative while we see that pace car take that hard left in the pit road. Matt, let's go green flag racing here tonight.
Agree. Let's get rid of that iRacing.com pace car. There he goes, and here we go. It's time to kick the clutch, wipe the dust, hope that rear end doesn't bust. Green flag in the air. Let's get it on here in the House of Racing.
Beautiful start by the 77 of Rick. Actually, 21 of Rick here. Let's see. What'd you say, Matt?
I said it looks like the Colonel slipped in the bacon grease out there because he's off in the grass.
Road dragging, man, we got some pushing happening already up front, side by side, all the way through the field. Hard, aggressive move all the way from the inside to the outside, and I believe that was Brian that made that hard transition. Now it's the key of what line do you want, inside or outside?
And that's something these drivers are going to have to figure out over the course of this race tonight. And Brandon, to your point moments ago, it doesn't matter what you do right now. Your main focus in this race should survive, ride out the storm, and save your car, have a piece of equipment that can contend at the end. As we currently get ready to log lap 1 in the history books, Emerson has kind of oddly shot out, caution out on the racetrack. I thought something looked a little strange out there, as these cars should be racked and stacked on top of each other. The caution, that tells the story. So we're going to have to re-rack them, restack them here, and could be a sign of what's to come here, Brandon.
Oh, for sure. And I accidentally hit the wrong button, but let's go back and see what happened on this restart and see if we can find out what happened. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hugh and I believe it was Kirby that got involved there, making a little bit of contact on that initial start.
Yeah, I just happened to see it out of the corner frame, and I saw the Colonel. He was all bent out of shape. He was going down the racetrack like a lawn dart, and that's typically not how you want things to go on the initial drop of the green flag. I think race control thought about it, elected to throw the caution flag. Hopefully not too much damage early for those two drivers mentioned.
And unfortunately, actually, what happened, there was a accordion effect that happened. Somebody didn't get onto that gas pedal. Somebody was eating a bologna sandwich, Matt.
Hey, there's a right time to eat bologna, and right now is no bologna. You got to be focused. You got to grit that wheel, be on high alert. And, hey, you know what? At least not too much carnage and mayhem here. really easy to wad a lot of race cars up here, especially on a restart. But how many times have we seen that, especially at restrictor plate tracks? You get that accordion effect. All that energy has to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it got unleashed on Kirby Wainscott and Hugh Escobar, as they're going to have to start in the rear with the gear here.
Unfortunately, bad timing. You know, there's not many places you can go on that situation, and he just, unfortunately, bad luck, but at least he has that fast repair and can get back out there. He's still in it, but hopefully he's not into another one, and that could hurt his night here tonight. But since we got a quick second, man, I want to give quite a few shout-outs here to our sponsors real quick. So I want to give a big shout out to Barbecue Beef Sauce. If you want some delicious barbecue sauce, head on over there and check them out on their website or Facebook. Multiple different flavors. My opinion, it's better than Sweet Baby Ray's, but that's just my opinion. So head on over there and check them out. Also, to Delta Tire being a local sponsor here in Burton, Michigan. If you want some new front-end alignments, new brakes, new tires, things like that, head on over to their Facebook and their website and look them up. They can help you out. We definitely love to support local sponsors here. Also, want to give a big shout out to W, being a energy drink sponsor here. If you want to get some delicious and different flavors, also head on over and use promo code REDLINE to get 15% off. So we appreciate them coming on board here tonight. So all right, Matt, that is all of our sponsors here. We appreciate them coming on board, but bud, let's go back to racing.
Get back to the good part. Is Nathan Emerson in the one? He's going to have to re-rack it, restack it, do it all over again here. And it was really clean, especially inside the top 15. But we had a snafu that just uncorked itself on the bottom lane there. And, you mentioned those two drivers that got caught up in it really early. Now is when they're going to have to go into hardcore conserve mode. You just cannot afford to lose the draft here. That is so critical, especially in this next-gen car. And remember, those guys get about a half a second out in front of you, game over. You have to be on the lead lap. You do that, and then guess what? 10 to 15 laps to go. Then it's time to go out there on the racetrack, make your moves as those lights go back out on that iRacing.com pace car.
Well, with that being said, with one lap to go here, a little bit of an update. We had from 14th place down, every driver went down into pit road and either got some damage fixed, got some tires, or just some fuel. So that is the update of our pit game here tonight. So if this goes green, though, and you never know. I've seen it before, but I've also seen where some craziness happens. The strategy call is going to be interesting, Matt, if we can stay green, of when people come down pit road and the group. You want to be with somebody. If you have more, the merrier, the better it is to be able to leave pit road and have a group to be able to draft from. Because, if you're going to be single file, single by yourself, you're kind of in a big issue. But the thing is, though, Matt, and we've seen it, when you enter pit road, how many people will get that speeding penalty or kicking it sideways, hitting that brake too hard?
Well, that's just it. How hard are you going to attack pit road? But that's the other side of the coin. These guys are famous for going green flag for long durations here and executing. You have to be perfect under those green flag conditions. And to your point, you absolutely need a battle buddy, have to have a dancing partner. If you don't, you're going to lose a ton of time out there on the racetracks. In this race here, while it could be won on the racetrack, something tells me getting it done in the trenches on pit road could have a big determining factor when all is said and done.
Most definitely. Real quick, Bryce out there, good luck. And Steve out there, let's go number 2. All right, here we go, Matt. Green flag is about to wave in the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Here we go. Beautiful start by that number 1 machine, Nathan. He is gone.
The one puts it to the floorboards as we uncork the roar of these glorious V8s here under the lights at Daytona. And those Camaros have shot off and fired out of a cannon. In fact, Chevrolets own the top 3 right now.
They definitely are. 55 looking up high now, trying to get onto the inside of the 77 here. Down the backstretch now. Drag strip all the way into turn number 3. Who's got it? Double file through the field.
Noah's Ark situation, 2 on 2 on 2. Now Truth Hope gets left out like a red-headed stepchild on the high side. He's looking for some help from that 40 machine being piloted by Brandon Honeycutt, who's already up 2 positions. And look at that, he is already welded the front of that Camry to the bumper of that Camaro. Already some hard pushing going on here early.
And right now, looks like Bradley gets right up in the high line also. Now he's going to get that push from that number 55, and he's going to take over the lead. Will he dive down and try to get in front of that one, or is he going to stay up high?
Truth Hoke is going to take it all the way up to the nosebleeds. I thought he was going to try to cross him over. He's trying a little shake and bake action. And actually, you got some really good cars in that outside lane. You got Truth Hoke, Brandon Honeycutt, Napa Know-How, and Kinsley Smith, and the head cook, chief, and bottle washer. Don't look now, but Andrew Tept is already up 11 positions in 5th. These guys are absolutely screaming right now as they clock speeds over 200 miles an hour coming out of turn number 4.
While you were saying that, we had 3 wide already here at Daytona. Kept it green, kept it going. Beautiful job. And that's what I love to see, is going 3 wide and not making a mistake, because especially that middle person, that's where you're in trouble.
Certainly, these guys at the front have got it singled out. And Andrew Teft, how about his new fastest lap of the race of 46.01? As you can see, the action's starting to calm down now as these drivers understand what the goal is here, and that is get to lap 100. How do you minimize risks out there on the racetrack? One way to do that is to run single file. That'll also translate to more speed out there on the racetrack. And it looks like the top 14, 15 have already singled themselves out. And look at the gap, the gap they're putting on this next pack of race cars that's still 2x2. That's going to be back there around that 16th place position, where you'll find drivers like Stephen Hines, Kevin Menapace, and Dale in the 27, who led the charge in the trucks last night.
And I was watching that number 2. He was up on the high line, got a little bit of a bump, got a little wiggly, but he was able to hold on to it, drop down low. But you are right, the gaps, and that's the thing. Drivers battling really hard back there, side by side. Look at this. I'm right now on board.
He had problems. He got KO Donkey Kong style. And oh my God, multiple cars dying, going into the fence head on. We have a catastrophe unfolding here in the back. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, as Phil Collins likes to say, I can feel that one coming in the air tonight.
Dang. Unfortunate, definitely not what some drivers wanted to see there. We're going to actually have to rewind this one and watch what just happened, because I just missed it in time. So let's go back here on Redline Racing Network and watch this crazy action.
Go back to the replayed mode here. Just keep an eye right here in this back of the pack where these guys were still 2x2. You're going to see a little bit of forcing the issue here. It's okay to 3-way, but sometimes bad things can happen, and well, we'll let the replay speak for itself here, Brandon.
Definitely a couple of drivers kind of everywhere there for a minute. Watching it, went a little farther back, but actually that was a little bit of a meatball issue. It doesn't look like he really got into the corner panel as bad on the screen, and I think that bubble got him.
Yeah, taking a second look here at it. Thank God for the replay, because sometimes what you see in real time isn't exactly what happened when you go back and watch it again. And you're right there. That meat and that ball was cooked a little extra tough. And once it popped off, it kept on going. Multiple drivers here going to have to take it down pit road. And some of these guys may be using that fast repair.
Definitely. So we're on replay real quick. I kind of backed it up a little bit. There was a little bit of that meatball, like you mentioned, and just the 17 bad plays at the wrong time, and kind of did accordion effect with that 3 wide. But looks like 17 was able to get out of it a little bit better than he wanted to. So it's time for those drivers come down pit road, fix them up, and get some fresh ones. So the race off of pit road, though, Matt, here we go.
Yeah, fresh ones. Probably throw a fresh race suit in there for some of these guys as well. As these drivers now down and away, sending it back out there out of the racetrack. And while pit stop's underway, look at Trevor Woodward in the 6 machine, up 18 positions. Rick Webb, who started deep in the woods, up 10 spots. So already we're starting to see the strategies, the hands being played, and one of them is pulling a little strategery here in the pits, getting that track position. Look for these drivers to try and keep these cars now at the front of this thing. Or that should be the goal, I would think. The less cars you're behind, the least of a chance you're going to have it getting caught up in the big one. So keeping it towards the front, probably going to be the top of the order here for guys like Woodward, Webb, Truth Hoke, Honeycutt, Alex Gates, who rounds out the top 5.
Definitely. We got, it's crazy to see how many drivers were involved, but able to get all situated during that pit stop. But, we still have 25 drivers on the lead lap right now. Kirby being the first one lap down here. But those lucky dogs can be, if we keep getting those incidents happening, that can help. But only drivers I see that have used a quick repair, it's only about 5 of them. So I wonder if that yellow flag definitely helped them out just to actually sit in pit road and not waste that fast repair to wait till the end when it really, really matters.
Oh, yeah, for certain. That yellow flag couldn't have been a bigger gift to some of these drivers who had some moderate damage that just did not want to pull the trigger and use that fast repair. I never get luck like that. Usually, once I get kicked in the pants, they just keep on coming. But already, Kirby Wainscott got one of those laps back, so he is the first car one lap down or more. Hugh Escobar still 3 laps to the bad, but the silver lining, he still has plenty of time left in this one as we're currently working lap 11 of the scheduled 100.
Well, pace car lights are off now, so we are getting ready to double file. We're going to see that flagman, that dance up in his little box here again tonight. So let's go over our caution information real quick here tonight. So we've had 2 cautions, 7 laps under caution here, and we've had 2 lead changes here at Daytona International Speedway. So I can see that number going up, skyrocketing here soon, because you never know. I've seen at least 30 lead changes in one race before. So it's still early. Like you said, we only have 90 laps to go.
Got a long time here, and the history books still are going to get written in here tonight over the course of this one. So make sure you strap in, grab yourself a beverage, and hang out with us right here this evening. Your nightcap on Redline Racing Network is Racers Elite getting ready to put on a show. And in fact, they have been since the drop of the green flag. Look at Rick Webb here. He's currently being scored as the leader. He's going to take the outside lane here as your first and second place drivers, also the biggest movers of the race.
Well, let us know in the chat also if how is everybody doing out there, and if you want some information about a driver or want to see where your driver's at, throw it in a chat. We would love to help you out, just get you out there, because I see 25 of you out there watching here tonight. Love to see it. Hope everybody's having a great night, especially being a Friday night, man. Prime time, like you always say. Let's go back green flag racing. Here we go.
Racing.com pace car pulls off down to pit road. Trevor in the Ford leads up into the Geico restart zone. He's going to burn to the loud pedal, put it through the floorboards, back up the H pattern. Here we go. Back to the business, back to the racing here at Daytona. As the front 3 of the bottom lane there get a phenomenal restart. They're already formed up, but big time push now coming on the high side is Brandon Honeycutt is turning and burning on the outside.
He definitely is turning and burning right now. Trevor as your leader. The outside line trying to make something happen. Ooh, man, diciness going on farther back in the field here. But that caution definitely helped a lot of those drivers that were in that second pack. Now they're involved. Now I'm wondering if now they're going to think, let's try to stay single file back here and try to stay with this pack. Because this pack is on a move and they are on fire here. And that outside line, look at that, man. Looking really strong right now.
Well, that's just the thing. A lot of these drivers who were single file matter than a Keebler Elf that got demoted to Fudge Packer because they put the battle box right there back on the racetrack, 2 by 2. Oh, we got big time problems. Almost a bad push there in the outside lane. The 54 being piloted by Rick Webb had a handful, and he still really didn't have it gathered up there as he now collects that race car coming off the corner, and it's a 2 by 2 side by side John Force special going down the backstretch.
Like you said, still double file. A couple drivers further in the back, going from down low to the top line, trying to make something happen, trying to go where the best line is, where they're moving. And right now, that's 71. I believe it's 71.
Whoa!
I was gonna say we're getting a little dicey here.
Gee, it just went kaboom. It's not where the fuse gets lit, it's where the bomb goes off. And that ZL1 Camaro just got shot out of the hot dog bun of the sandwich as he gets sent down to the flatlands. We got cars squirting all over the place.
We definitely are. We're still green, though, while drivers are trying to get back on the track right now. Wow, that was very, very dicey, but they are still going, and I can't believe it.
Oh, Andrew Teff just got put up in the fence as Brandon Honeycutt, with the help of Mr. Shake and Bake in the 15, Kinsley Smith. No surprise to see these two guys at the front, as they're the first two cars single file. They're going to try to check out the competition here, but that's going to be a tall order, especially when you got the Midnight McDonald's ride hot on his heels. Andrew Teff now inside the top 5.
He's got them on board here with, I believe, Andrew, and having a great run here. Watching how close these drivers are getting right to that back bumper. And man, oh man, that's what I love about Actually, I was on board with Terry, but Terry, oh, gets that push. Goes below. Oh, wow.
These guys bobbing and weaving, doing the jig, and we're not even 15 laps into this race.
Heck no, and it was really cool to see where we're actually looking back on Terry's ride there and watch that bump happen. And man, that could have been bad, but great save.
Great save, certainly a code brown moment for that driver of that race car, but what great handiwork inside the cockpit there. And look at these, some of these guys are throwing some big time blocks and lane changes. I mean, the 89 just set a Hail Mary right down in front of his teammate. And I mean, that's for that 7th place position. So you can see just how important track position is. Everyone who's up front doing everything they can to try and stay there.
Well, we have 85 laps to go here at Daytona. Watching these guys, looks like we're starting to get a little single file. We have 3 cars now on the high line, and I believe we're going to see them kind of fall back once this inside line keeps them moving. I think we might go single file for a little bit because we still got time to go.
Yeah, the crazy train is now forming single file at the front of this thing. And at the helm, no surprise, Brandon Honeycutt, Kinsley Smith, Andrew Teff, Bad Bobby B, and Bradley in that 89 right out the top 5. But don't look now. There's a group of cars that have got it dialed up to the heavens on the outside, trying to make a run. But that low line is so well formed up right now, those cars just don't have a chance. We're having the few amount of numbers there in that high lane as they continue to, as Brandon Honeycutt leads.
All right, I see a couple of people in the chat real quick. Let's go 81 Billy and James out there. Come on, Billy. So a couple of fans out there. Good to see everybody out there watching here tonight.
That's right. Sound off. Let us know who you're rooting for. Like Brandon said moments ago, we'll get your driver some extra screen time, and as well, let them know you're cheering them on. And oftentimes, what if we've seen that elevate them to a victory here over the time of broadcasting? So why not support the cause and do your buddy a favor as well? And I mean, Brandon, let's be honest here. You know, obviously, money racing means a lot, but having friends and family out there cheering you on, sometimes that makes all the difference.
And you know, we have to give the biggest shout out to all the families out there, all the friends. You know, I always say week in, week out, we appreciate everybody tuning in week in and week out for the drivers, the leagues, and the broadcast. You know, these drivers gives us, you know, able to give something out, you know, everybody to watch. And with you giving them the support to let them a couple hours of their night to have some fun and give us something to produce, we want to say thank you to everybody out there watching to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys showing up, supporting the cause as Racers Elite is putting on a masterpiece right now here at Daytona as Kinsley Smith has his dance partner and Brandon Honeycutt as they command the front of this train with the head cook chief and bottle washer in the 98 Andrew Teff up 13 positions in third. And remember, you snag a podium, you snag some cash, everything else doesn't matter. And right now, those 3 drivers are sitting in the money.
Definitely. Well, since we are seeing a file real quick, Matt, why not let's go do our crank it up session of the night real quick and watch all these cars, because that's my favorite part when I always watching all of them fly by.
Let's go all-out coverage here on Redline Racing Network.
Want a big shout out to JS Designs, crank it up, and man, this is my favorite moment, just to watch all these cars fly by like that, and just, especially when you're at the racetrack, the vibrations, and just you can hear how fast these cars are. You know, you can't really hear them how fast, but you can feel them how fast they're going around here. So it's always fun to do.
Yeah, it certainly is. Nothing like standing at the fence at Daytona or Talladega. And when they come by, you better hold on to something, because all of that dirty air, that turbulence, I've seen it shoot children like they were coming out of a something to see. It can almost be funny at times, but you're right. It is absolutely rowdy. Yeah. Feel it in your chest. You can feel it just resonate throughout the entire facility, and an experience you'll only get being at the racetrack in person. And if you haven't been there, we got problems. Multiple cars. The 11 goes helicopter mode. 2 Fords in the wall. That happened in the blink of an eye.
Definitely not good. I was kind of just looking away real quick, and you said the 11, I'm like, row ragging. Definitely the 11 has some damage. So real quick, let's go back and watch that, because I really didn't catch it.
Well, Bobby caught a car to the face and then took off like a howitzer.
Oh, hard hit on the outside wall, and a couple individuals just nowhere to go. Especially that 55 gets a little bit of a hit in the back end. That could have been way worse, but definitely a hard hit. Hopefully he is okay.
Yeah, the 55 there, Truth Hoke got poked big time, and that's going to set up a big-time sequence here of events up near the front of this piece. And to your point, the casualties here could have been a lot greater. These drivers have such great situational awareness, and we had a little bit of separation, and that right there kept a lot of cars out of harm's way, because, as you know, the big one typically results from incidents like that under green flag conditions, as the caution now shows its ugly face once again here as we work lap 23 of the scheduled 100.
Definitely. James out there also saying, your papa is watching, Billy. So, Billy, papa's watching out there tonight. I believe that is Billy in the 81, and we're going to pull him on board, or on our camera real quick. Currently right now in 22nd, and I'm looking at his car. It doesn't look like he has got much damage at all, so he's in a good spot, it looks like.
Hey, he's in a great spot. He's on the lead lap with a clean race car, and that's all you really need right now. And yeah, it's under the lights. It's a broadcasted race. You want to go out there and perform. But I'm telling you, the more experience you get in races like these, the more
Ruh-roh, Matt, you're breaking up a little bit. Matt, with Matt having a little bit of mic issues, it sounds like a robot right now. Yeah, I lost you, man. I completely lost you. Gotta love technical difficulties. Gotta love it. But once you get situated here, what a race so far. And it looks like a couple of drivers did get some black flags here. Nathan also got a black flag. Let's see, he also got it cleared.
You need to crank it up in there, down and away, and get that pounded out. Get ready to resend it.
Matt, you're still. I hear a little bit from you, and then it just disappears. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am talking to myself. My internet wants to have a gremlin in it, so I'm going to step aside really quick, fix that. I'll rejoin you here in just a moment.
All right, while he's getting that situated, lap 24 completed here. We got 77 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway here on Redline Racing Network. I see everybody still out there watching. Appreciate it all tuning in here. We should be going back green flag here in just a little bit. I believe this time by those pace car lights should go off here, and it's time to go back and see some crazy side-by-side and some crazy action. You know, just that last incident, it looks like just when these drivers do this draft and get right behind, if you just touch that back end at the wrong place, especially in those corner panels, that'll get that driver turned around, and then it looks like that's what happened on that last caution. Basically hit that wrong area on the corner panel. So right now, side by side, Dale and Billy are going to be leading the field to the next green flag here tonight. So our caution information here at Daytona, 3 cautions, 10 laps under yellow, and we have had 5 lead changes here tonight.
About that, the king of the truck class last night says, hey, no truck, no problem. Proval Dale in that 27, getting it done in the car. And remember, this guy was a brand new addition, if I remember correctly, to this league, and he is really making a name for himself, being up front now in 2 primetime races back-to-back as these cars getting re-racked, restacked. It's the calm before the storm here once again.
And you are right. I'm happy you pointed out, and I'm happy your mic's fixed there, Matt. But yes, a driver that hasn't, we seen it yesterday at Michigan, looked like he was so comfortable, and it looks like he was racing there with this league forever. And it was his first time being here, and right now he's back out there again. I am excited to see what's going to happen, but the biggest question is we did not point out who is going to be our silent but deadly driver here tonight.
I think I have an answer, and I think that is going to be the McDonald's machine being driven by the one and only Andrew Teft in that 98 machine. He's got the midnight scheme on that Mustang, a throwback to Bill Elliott in the 90s. That car was bad fast then. It's got a heck of a driver behind it tonight. I look for that dark horse to be P1 when all is said and done.
And it may happen. That is an awesome point, Matt. I'll let you go ahead and throw it.
Green flag back in the air as these glorious V8s come roaring back to life here under the lights at Daytona. It's a side-by-side drag racing affair as we get back up to speed. And look at all the Chevrolets up in the front. However, they got that one Toyota being piloted by Brandy Honeycutt, splitting them up.
And I'll tell you what, if I was out there and I'm watching all this on every single restart, the driver you want to be able to have behind you is that guy, Brandon. Every time we have had to restart, Matt, he has pushed and has had amazing restarts. And look at him. He is gone on the high line while he's getting some help by Billy.
He is a bad mother trucker when he is pushing, and he can make that thing really scream even while he's doing all of the heavy work. Makes a little razzle-dazzle there, now finds himself up to second, and coming in with the turbo boost, his buddy, his dancing partner, Kensley Smith. I'm telling you, when these two guys get formed up out there on the racetrack, it's shake and bake all over again.
Shake and bake, but right now, Billy in that number 81 up to 3rd place. And, he was on the high line giving that beautiful push to Brandon, and I was kind of worried because Brandon dropped down low really quickly, and I was hoping Billy would not fall back, and he was able to get in line and stay 3rd place right now. And he's watching this beautiful push going on in front of him. He's in a beautiful spot right now.
That by Brandon was almost disastrous, a very rare mistake. However, that just goes to show you how badly and how urgently he wanted to get hooked back up with the 15. Brandon typically not going to make really bold moves like that early, but like I said, different rules are on the line tonight. As used in the drop of the broadcast, we got money on the line, and these drivers are going to push the boundaries just like Brandon did with that move to get hooked up with his dance partner.
We got some 3-wide battle going on farther in the... Oh, here we go. There's another one.
Caution, back out on the racetrack. I did not happen to catch that one as I was getting my cameras set up for our next coverage segment here. However, Daytona had other plans as the yellow flag comes out here once again as we worked lap 28 here.
I do see Rick Webb in that 54 was one of them that was involved there. And I want to say this, we got to rewind this because it looked like such a beautiful accordion of watching both of these cars. They turn identical, they go backwards identical, and they go into the grass identical. And it was kind of comical to see.
Games mode out here at Daytona. And look at that. I mean, these two guys literally crashed and bashed in synchrony.
it was perfect. It was beautiful.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, great to see the Jets car go for a ride, but look at this. You just gotta start playing like some ballet music in the background. They even do the Derv and swerve there in the dirt and then come out back onto the racing surface at the same time. Someone clip that. That is going on our highlight reel.
I'm trying to get it. I was trying not to rewind. I was trying to do a replay here, but I want to go into our chase view and watch this beautiful accordion effect of, okay, it gets a little bit touched, and they both they're just in for the ride, identical, hitting the grass in the same spot. Both get straight on the same spot and back on the track.
This is absolutely wild. Someone needs to put the dark magic down. I don't know what else to say. I mean, in Toy Story, they said falling with style, crashing with this type of precision. I mean, there needs to be an award for this.
I felt like I was watching a ballerina or a ballet recital, just how everything was. And I don't think we can ever see that happen again, to be honest.
I've never seen anything like that. The closest thing you're probably going to see is tandem drifting, which is what they initially started to do. And then after that, I'm just shocked. I've never seen anything quite like that. Or two cars, I mean, they go for a ride, and they do it in sync. The last thing you want is for them to go bye, though.
And the ultimate question, though, Matt, were they thinking the same thing while that happened?
Nah, they were probably thinking Symphony of Destruction, or they probably didn't even realize it had happened, but they're going to know about it sooner than later.
Definitely. Well, I do have somebody in the chat out there. I see Steve says, my money is on the net number 2, and number 2 of Steven Douglas. Let's see where, right now Steven is currently in 11th place, Matt. So he's in a good spot. I'm trying to see. I don't see much damage. Looking at if he's actually used a fast repair. He has. So he has used a fast repair so far. But still, that's not bad in that black rifle machine.
Great looking colors on that black rifle coffee machine. He probably got some cold brew while he was at it down in the pits. Hines will be just fine tonight if he just plays it safe out there on the racetrack, doing what he's been doing. He kind of got Daytona'd in that deal where he had to use that fast repair. But I think he's got the right game plan, and I agree. I think Hines is going to be in great shape over the course of the remainder of this race this evening.
That is true, and I got a little worried there. The screen went black for a minute, but it was a little bit of blinking going on with the driver, so my camera decided nobody's here. So we're back looking at the race again. I had a freak-out moment, man. I had a freak-out.
Yeah, I think the iRacing.com servers are having a little bit of some issues right now as they tried to puke me out just moments ago, and now you got your turn. But, hey, it's terrifying when that happens, especially when you're broadcasting a race, because when that starts to happen, that usually means things are going to go downhill quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it's definitely time to hit the red panic button.
That is for sure. And now we are double file, getting ready to go back green flag race. Pace car lights are off here at Daytona. Matt, I'm excited to see how this is going to play out. We've got 70 laps to go here tonight. Still a little bit left to go. But we got some hungry drivers. We've had some big ones. We've had some single file. We've almost had every single thing happen here tonight, and it's not over.
It's not over, and it's about to dial up another level or two before all is said and done as we get this field reshuffled, reset I don't know why it was so hard to say that. I'll tell you what.
Tongue twister.
I'll tell you what. You watch what we just seen with that symphony of destruction ballet we just had. You'll start mispronouncing your words. I'm still trying to process what we witnessed there. As Brendan Honeycutt, Kensley Smith, Jesse Fox, and Bad Boy Terry going to lead them back to green here. Andrew Tepp still in the top 5 as he currently owns that 5th place position.
All right, well, while we're getting ready to go back and take the hard left in pit road and the flag man going to start dancing, Matt, let's, they always say when we always watch, let's tighten up those belts. Hopefully maybe one more time. We might see a couple more, but let's have some more fun here at Daytona, all on Redline Racing Network. Here we go.
Grab the dude wipes, get them ready, because we're going to need them more and more throughout the course of this night. As we back into the Geico restart zone, Brendan Honeycutt, he's going to punch the loud pedal through the floorboards. Look at the precision move there by Kinsley Smith to pick up his dance partner as we're back to the good part here under the lights in prime time.
We definitely are right now, 3rd and 4th place side by side. The outside line kind of falling back, inside line prevailing. Let's see where we're going to have a couple outside drivers pick up and help each other out, because right now inside line is on a mission.
Yeah, the inside line is on a mission. They are racked, stacked, single file, and they have the numbers. As look at the 15 doing all the heavy lifting, giving a big shot there to Brendan Honeycutt. And you can see just how much energy, how much more momentum they get when those cars are tucked in line like that. The problem is, it's an easy way to overheat and make that engine prematurely expire, something these drivers need to pay attention to, especially when they're booking it like the drivers in P1 and 2 right now.
Right now, we're in the cockpit view of Brian in this 101, and this shows you how scary it can be as a driver. This is what they are seeing. They see the car in front of them, they see a little bit of a car to their left, and how fast it checks up, and how much of a push they can give on the outside line while we're watching all that happen right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, everyone else around them inches apart from you trying to do the same thing and execute at speeds of almost 200 miles an hour. There's a lot going on, but I'll tell you what, when it goes bad, sometimes you're in it before you even know it happened because, as you just pointed out, the transparency isn't as good as some of these drivers would like. But hey, that's restrictor plate racing, and that's why I love it.
And that is for sure. And back in the day, Dale Earnhardt used to say he could see the track. He could go from the front all the way to the back and back to the front again. And right now, we're kind of seeing some crazy action. We've seen some drivers go from the front all the way to the back and back up to the front again. And that's what I love, is because you never know, and you got to figure out what you're testing to make sure. To the end of this, while we're seeing 3 wide right now, you're testing to see what can you do during the race to know what kind of moves you can make on that last lap.
That's exactly what they're doing. Is it got hot and heavy back there around that 13th, 14th place position. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, the guys that got some really big lug nuts on their race car tonight, they are purposely going from the back to the front to try and time it out, so they know when it comes down to the business when they need to make their move out there on the racetrack. However, there is a big risk associated with that, because sometimes when you're playing that scenario, the big one or calamity can find you instantly, ruining your chances. How many times have we seen Daytona not play out how you had hoped? And that's what you have to be leery of anytime you do those types of things under green flag conditions.
Right now, we're kind of watching this back of the pack here, and back to Sean in the 01. Right now, Sean's about 2 seconds away from Jesse Fox, and Jesse Fox is kind of at that tail end, actually more Bradley in the 89s at that tail end of that pack. That is the comparison. But what I'm seeing though, that back pack though, they are single file this time. They are not double file. This will help them to be able to try to catch back up, but this could be a strategy, Matt. Why not stay with a group and just try to, play it safe?
Hey, you know what? No better battle plan than right now, let's make friends and work together. And I love this play here. Run far enough back where something happens in front of you. At least you have time to react. However, keep it single file so you have the speeds. You don't really run the risk of going a lap down here unless something biblical happens. And to your point, this is probably a 100% effort here being collaborated by these drivers in the Discord racing chat servers, or voice chat sessions, I should say, as we currently watch this group here running about 15 seconds back from the main pack.
And right now, there's basically only 2 drivers that have that pedal all the way to the ground, and that's going to be Brandon and that who was that in the very back of the pack? Was that Sean in the 48 there? Or no, whoever's I'm not sure. I think that's a lap traffic. They're the only 2 drivers that have their pedal down. Everybody else, they're kind of fluttering that gas pedal a little bit, saving. So those 2 drivers are wasting a lot more fuel than everybody else. For some reason, I couldn't get that is Andrew, the 48. He is currently 1 lap down. That's why my scoreboard is screwed up. That he's leading that other pack back here in the back. Right now, we do have 24 drivers on the lead lap. Andrew being the first one 1 lap down, and 2 drivers have brought it into the infield due to maybe couple of those wrecks back a couple laps ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had a couple retirees from the race early as their cars just not able to continue as they got caught up in the calamity out there on the racetrack, which can often happen here at the big house here in Daytona. But to your point about fuel mileage, as I was just going to make moments ago, but I believe before I almost got lost or disconnected from the session again, right now the 15 that Kinsley Smith is using that 40 as a fuel pig. You mentioned the guys at the front and the caboose. They're having to run this car wide open, which means they're not going to get the same fuel mileage that Kinsley Smith, Andrew Tept is getting. So they're going to have to try and methodically here make a change to allow that 40 to try to save some fuel, because what will happen here is they're going to have to off-cycle or off-pit if they don't get that corrected, and that could obviously get them separated out there on the racetrack, especially if they pit under green flag conditions.
And right now, looking back at the lead, Brandon and Kinsley, and that's another driver that we talked about last night. Kinsley had a phenomenal race, holding on to second place, staying right behind Brandon, trying to give him that little push. He's been given a little bit of a bump draft here and there, not in the corners as much, but more in the front stretch, in the back stretch. And Terry, he's just watching all this happen. And I want to point out, I can definitely tell where Terry is. Look at that beautiful scheme he's got going on there in 3rd place.
Yeah, that's a great-looking Ghost Energy paint scheme on that 50 machine tonight. In fact, a lot of great paint schemes out there in this field tonight. And that's a great point. Brandon and Kinsley Smith just doing the dance right now, just giving those little subtle pushes, and timing it is huge. And you're seeing these drivers executing it perfectly right now. Why are they doing that? Just to get a little extra bit of momentum, making sure they maintain their point, their positions here at the front of this thing as they continue to run 1st, 2nd, and Terry currently in 3rd.
We've completed 41 laps here. We got 60 laps to go here at Daytona. All single file through the field here, but hey, little mistakes can happen, so it is not over here at all. And I'm looking at these lap times, Talladega and Daytona, these lap times really don't matter as much because of the draft can make a big of a change. But also, I'm trying to look at the gas mileage. Everybody's been out there for 18 laps, Matt. So with that being said, we've actually been out there for quite a while under green flag, conditions. We may see some green flag pit stops.
Yeah, especially for these drivers inside the top 5. These guys were all down on lap 23. So Brandon Honeycutt all the way to Nate Emerson. Those guys pitted on lap 23. Then your next group of cars from 6th to 10th, those guys came down on lap 29. So what that tells me is sooner than later, we should see the leaders break off here and come down pit road. But this is where it gets tricky, where it gets exciting. It's all about the numbers. Who do you have in your army coming down pit road? because that translates to speed, getting back up on the big end. The more numbers you have, the quicker you can achieve that, and it's going to really be interesting to out here if they do indeed pit under green flag conditions here momentarily.
Well, we got an outside line starting to form. That's going to be led by Steven in that number 2. He's got a little bit of help behind, but can they get any more drivers to help out? Because I believe they're like, you know what? I'm tired of going single file. Let's make some moves, and that's what we're seeing. They're trying to get to the front and take away Brandon's lead.
I'll tell you what, Brett, the Black Rifle Coffee Machine has got the brigade rallying on the high side of the racetrack, and he has got some serious boogie under the hoodie right now as he's going to try to go up there and challenge the lead from Brandon and Kensley Smith, who currently have been owning this race, working on the bottom.
They definitely are. Now there's 4 drivers on the high line. But you know what? That 15, though, in second place, Kensley is like, yeah, I see that happening. He's actually been given a little bit more pushes, and that's even in the corners. So I'm curious to see, will actually the top 2 dive right up top and block that momentum of that number 2 coming, because they are coming quick.
They are coming quick, and I'll tell you what, it's almost like he had another gear in that Camaro when he sent it to the high side of the racetrack. And, the other point is we're getting deeper into this run. As the run goes on, typically in this race car, the bottom is the fastest way around here. However, it's the nighttime. These temps are low and cars making more horsepower, and they're getting lighter as we got some big-time changes going up here. As Steven's going for it, he's looking to take the lead and does. Take the 2, check the box. Black Rifle Coffee to the point.
Just like that quickly. That was awesome to see. Wow,
that
was quick. Ooh, getting a little dicey back here, Matt.
Tell you what, I had to catch my breath. That Toyota almost got turned into a Slim Jim.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, well, at least we're not like a Slim Jim, because, man, they never turn out very good after you're done with them. But that single file, they're getting, the single inside line, though, they're getting a little dicey. A couple drivers are kind of going back and forth below the yellow line, kind of going up high. I wonder if they're getting a little hot or if it's just getting a little nerve-wracking back here and they're getting a little worried.
I think a combination of things happened there. Everything was calm, but not for long. When those guys finally challenged for the lead, you've seen, the reactions from these other drivers that have been gracefully, submitting themselves here inside the top 3, and that really made the whole pack scatter and kind of shatter apart into different fragments, and it almost turned into another yellow flag on the racetrack. Not the case, but it certainly was looking that way for a few moments as we're still under green flag conditions. Brian LaPratte now leads for the first time tonight.
We got a new leader, but, I can see Brandon, he's giving those pushes right now up front, though. But will he decide to kind of go up high with Kensley? They've worked together before. Will they try to make something happen and leave Brian alone?
When I race out here with these guys, and it's always an absolute honor and a privilege to run out here with these guys on the racetrack, I've tried to figure out what Kensley and Brendan Honeycutt are trying to do, and I swear, they never do the same thing twice. They're always trying to stay ahead of the competition, and they do it so well. I think right now, though, currently what's looming in their minds is when are they going to be coming down pit road, because by my projections, they're going to be running out of fuel here within the next few laps. So they're probably trying to get that sorted out right now as we speak, as they run in that second and third place position. Brian LaPratte, check the box. He leads here at Daytona.
They definitely are, but that high line is kind of starting to fall back. They got a little bit more momentum in the inside line, but I want to go back a little bit further to that field or that pack in the back. Looks like they kind of started a little bit of double file back here too, and that's going to hurt them. They're kind of falling back more and more right now.
That'll certainly hurt you. 2 lanes of traffic, that's going to throw more dirty air out there, and that's going to take away your momentum, which takes your speeds down, which opens up the gap out there on the racetrack. However, they could be trying to get situated for how they want to pit. Obviously, you have to be ripping the bottom on the racetrack. You can't pit from the second lane. Well, I mean, I guess you could try and send it in there and try to split the, traffic like a long dart, but that never works well, does it?
And it doesn't, and I honestly see a lot of drivers, that's where the biggest mistakes is trying to figure out what's the best entry to go into pit road under these strategies calls, because I can see some drivers taking all the way to the base and then basically right to that inside wall and try to ride it. But that kind of hurts them too, and I've seen drivers really plow into each other. So that's going to be the hardest part, I believe.
Well, that's the other thing. Like you said, I'll use your word, send it in there to the basement or like grandma's business after church on Sunday. The only problem is then you're having a meeting of the minds, 5 cars all trying to jump on the binders and get down to 55 miles an hour. When you're that aggressive on the binders, that car is going to slip and slide. And guess what? There is no real estate, no margin for error, and mistakes get made and usually sends one or a couple cars off into the grass. So if you're attacking pit road in a big group of cars, it's certainly with it to give up a tenth or two to keep yourself out of a potential situation on the entry to pit road.
That is for sure. Wow, let's go back. I'm trying to catch back up here. I was having some other difficulties going on, of course. But, I was looking, we've seen Dale. I was kind of looking at the couple drivers that are back here in the back. We got Dale, we got Mark, Billy, we have Sean, Jesse. We've had some drivers, I honestly think, and I could be wrong, but I want to say if they can stay single file, I want to count these guys as having something to the end. Because once these strategies start happening, if they can stay together, I think they can work really well together as long as they can stay single file.
That's a great point. Just because this is a classic example of just because we're not talking about them right now doesn't mean that they cannot be a contender here at the end. And you're absolutely right. These guys, while they may be hanging, 10, 15 seconds behind the main action, they're doing everything they need to. They're staying single file right now. Everyone's just kind of running, not trying to go out there and pass each other. And they're going to try to execute on pit road as a group. They have the numbers. And we'll see if they can leapfrog some positions here if and when they do pit under green flag conditions. However, let's say we get a yellow flag. Take what we're saying right now, crumble it up, throw it out the window, because that would be a complete game changer. But from what I'm seeing right now, Brandon, that caution flag isn't showing any signs of coming out, especially right now.
That is for sure. But anything can happen. We got a couple, and I've noticed back in the back, though, a couple of drivers been doing a little bit of switcheroo. One goes up high, they allow, 1 or 2 to go by, and then that's it. So I'm kind of curious, are they doing some strategies of pitting, like where they want to be? Or are they trying to save more fuel? Or I really want to know what's going through their mind, because they keep doing this.
C, final answer.
D, all of above.
All the above. I think there's a little bit of everything going on right now. That was almost an incidental door slam. But I think what they're trying to do, one is manage temps, right? So the more you push, the more you're up on somebody, the more that's going to kick up your engine temps, which is a bad thing here. These next-gen cars, since the update, they're not the easiest to cool down. Also, you see them playing round robin, could be cycling the position out there for fuel mileage, to your point. And I also think how they want to enter pit road. I think there's a lot of, there's someone probably here calling the shots here in the Discord, working with everybody, as I've seen before. And usually it's McConey who does that when I get to race with them. But this is some strategy playing out, and great we're able to cover it right here on Redline Racing Network.
Since we got a moment of time, we'll be right back. We're going to do our play-by-play and watch this commercial break.
Are you tired of paying too much for tires and auto repair? Come to my family at Dr. Tire.
We carry nearly all brands of tires,
Including Michelin, Continental, Bridgestone, and Mastercraft.
and we have one of the largest inventories in Genesee County.
Raise the quote. We will beat it.
We offer many services including lifts, wheels, engines, brakes, and more.
Plus, on most of our jobs, we offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty.
Come see our family at Delta Tire.
Where we'll save you money.
Barbecue Sauces are made from scratch using quality ingredients to create a truly delicious barbecue taste. Try our original Beast sauce, sweet with a kick. Turn up the heat with Spicy Beast, Hot Beast, and Carolina Beast. Or experience the award-winning taste of our Curry Beast and On the Bay Beast sauces. Owned and operated locally by the power of women veterans, these quality sauces are versatile and great for grilling. Complement your favorite foods. Barbecue Beast, the exceptional barbecue sauce.
All right, and while we just watched the commercial, here we are, all coming down pit road. Now here's where people can make mistakes. 3 wide entering pit lane. That was very dicey, but great job, all keeping it going. And so far, no black flags have been given for speeding quite yet. Number 17 of Jimmy, and it looks like the 21 of Rick have stayed out on the track. They're by themselves, though. You know, Trevor, you can see that farther back in the pack now also got closer to 3rd place and 4th place. So that back pack now coming to the front, and that front pack all down pit road. And I'm looking at the chat real quick. It's hurting them more than the lap traffic is holding them back. And I think you are definitely right out there in the chat. They definitely had some lap traffic. I believe that was Andrew that was in front of that pack in the back, and that could have been holding up a little bit. So here they are racing back, getting on that track, and see that blue cone. None of the drivers can get back on the track until they pass that blue cone to get, if they do, then they can get those black flags, and that will hurt their race and get them to lose that chance to win some money here tonight.
That's a great point, and you're absolutely right. No mistakes made under green flag conditions on and off the pit road. That should be the motto, and you hit the nail right on the head there. You want to be flawless and execute and treat it like it's your money pit stop each and every time you pit here at the Big House under those green flag conditions. All of this has cycled Trevor Woodward in that 6 machine up 18 positions. I mean, he started in the next county over, and he's out there leading this thing at the front. However, remember, folks, he's last down pit road on lap 29. He still has to come down, put 4 Dr. Feelgoods and 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel in that machine.
Now since all this has happened and things are kind of dicey of how this is going to play out. That front half came down early, while Trevor Woodward is your leader at the moment. Oh, here we are. There's a wreck.
Caution breaks out on the racetrack here once again at Daytona.
That definitely could have been very bad for quite a few drivers, but only a couple of them involved there. I believe I see Rick Webb involved, Bradley is involved. Let's go back and replay and see if we can watch what just happened.
I'll tell you what, certainly not what these drivers had in mind, that's for certain. Is this going to slow everything down? That's going to send the pace car back out on the replay. Brandon, what did you see on that replay?
So, watching this replay real quick, it looks like I'm going to rewind it a little bit more, but the 89 gets right in the middle just to make it almost 3 wide, gets in the corner panel of the driver up high, and I believe that is the 54 of Rick Webb, and just a little bit of contact, and that's what happens. Gets somebody turned around and gets a little bit of damage from it. Unfortunately, I don't believe Rick Webb has a fast repair left, so he may have to sit in pit road for a little bit longer.
Oh, yep. Once again, 3 wide, uncorks. The nuclear bomb here at Talladega is the 89. Goes head bumper first, back into the fence here. Rick Webb had to burn a fast repair here early, and unfortunately does not have one of those in his back pocket, and that is going to make him have an extended stay in that pit stall, or you would think is aero so important here and critical at Daytona. We were talking moments ago, if we had a caution, crumple everything up. We were talking about strategy-wise, throw it out the window, and this is a complete game changer and changes everything. Now the focus is shifted from not speeding, hitting your braking points, to just kind of sending it down pit road, put some tires on it, and now start to perhaps plan for the end of this one. Who you going to be working with? What's your strategy going to be to make sure you're inside the top 3, getting the payday here to start off your weekend?
That is for sure. It kind of changes some events for a couple of drivers, but I believe Andrew, if I pronounce this right, Schroeder, gets back on the lead lap. He was 1 lap down earlier, and he's back on the lead lap now. So we have only got 1 driver, 1 lap down, and that is going to be Jesse Fox. So with that being said, we're going to, a couple drivers getting back on the lead lap, but showing Rick Webb still has a black flag out there at this moment in time. I wonder if he's got one of the meatball black flags or if there's actually a little bit more of an issue that he's having.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rick caught up in a web out there on the racetrack, and then add insult to injury, throw a black flag at him on top of it. That seems to be the luck right there in the 54 camp. But we'll see if RC or perhaps race control helps get this sorted out for him. I think he may have actually had a car beat him down pit road there because they weren't able to maintain pace. I'll check that and give you an update.
Most definitely. That will definitely help us a lot. We definitely appreciate that. But, what I'm curious to see, now we got 40 laps to go. When is it that, that back of the pack was by themselves? Will they actually stay up front now and be, together, or are they going to take their time since we still only got 40 laps to go and keep waiting it out a little bit longer?
That's a really good question. 40 laps to go, that is an eternity here, especially restrictor plate racing. However, now you get the track position. You basically have a gift that falls in your lap if you were part of that first group that has came down pit road. You already have the fuel in that race car. You have the payload. Why not do what you need to do to try and keep yourself up there? Because as we've seen tonight, the only safe spot has been at the point, commanding the charge. We've seen just a few positions on back inside the top 10 tonight. We've had issues pop off there. So if I had the opportunity here to cycle to the point, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to stay there until the checkered flag. But then again, that's just my opinion. Everyone could have a different idea and thought process, as you know, when it comes to winning here at these restrictor plate tracks.
That is for sure. Well, pace car lights are off now. Getting ready to go back green flag racing. But ladies and gentlemen, back up front though, we got Kinsley Smith in that 15 going to lead the field to the green flag here. And we have Brandon on the outside line. Them two have been working really well together. And we, like I mentioned earlier, that one driver you want to have behind you is on the top line. Will Kinsley get that perfect run and actually jump up high to have Brandon help? Or will he just stay down low knowing that you got Andrew in that 98 in that McDonald's machine right behind? You got two great drivers that definitely have the talent and are very good at pushing, that he could work with.
I'll tell you what here. I think the team up and push him out boys are going to pull some strategy here. Try to get Shifty McGee here on this restart as we hit the Geico restart zone. Kinsley Smith is going to give it the business. Green flag back in the air. And we're back to the good side of things. And there is the late shift. Team Shake and Bake back together here at Daytona.
Slingshot engage, just like that. And Andrew, if you noticed, Andrew kind of backed off a little bit. Allowed, I shouldn't say allowed, but he was able to give enough room for Brandon to drop down low like that, so them three can now work together down on the inside line while we can still try to have a outside of 4 drivers trying to make something happen. Let's see if anybody else can make something, jump in line with them and help them out.
Andrew Teff basically said, hey, I'll throw a Big Mac out there. I'll take the risk at, oh my goodness, check it up the line as it almost got ugly there for that Toyota Camry, as I think he took an ill-timed push there from the 98 who was getting a push, and it almost kicked off here at the front as my goodness, that was hair-raising as it almost went bad here at the front of this thing. And just like we said moments ago, it can happen in an instant here at Daytona as we now get back up to speed. 64 laps written in the history books as it continues to be Kinsley, Smith, Brendan Honeycutt, the HMFIC, Andrew Teft. They currently own the money positions. Stephen Hines, Kenneth, Terry, Rick, Mark, and Jimmy round out your top 10 as they currently run right now.
And that number 2 of Steven still up there in 4th place, like you mentioned. And I know we have, I believe, Steve out there rooting for that number 2. And number 2 is in a great spot right now, being comfortable, riding it out, watching all this happen right in front of him. And you know what? Why not? We'll go on board on the roof cam of that number 2. And this is what he's seeing. He's seeing Mac tonight. He's got that little decent gap in front, not too close, not too far, just riding comfortable. And listen to his gas pedal, how he just lets off, gets back on, lets off.
I'll tell you what, it's not just keeping it to the floorboard. You're really having to do the dance with that throttle pedal as well, unless, as you said earlier, you're carrying the torch or you're the guy in the caboose. And that's a great point as you went on there with Stephen Hines, who has done a fantastic job as he's now inside the top 5, just outside of the money, up 18 positions. But he's doing everything he needs to do right now. And hey, on the last lap, anything goes here at Daytona.
And that is for sure. You know, if you have a friend, sorry, but the last lap, you do not have a friend here at either Daytona or Talladega. You know, there's a lot of people will say, no offense, but you're not my friend that last lap.
Hey, you know what? 5 laps to go. You know, all the give and take, teammates, that switch goes to kill inside the cockpit of that race car, and you're not lifting until you see God or a checkered flag. And quite frankly, whatever happens until that point, it's racing, it's rubbing, it's all about getting the win here. And that's one of the things that I love about restrictor plate racing is all that teamwork, the give and take, the just the showmanship out there on the racetrack. When it goes away, it's quick, fast, and in a hurry, and it is all-out trench warfare on the racetrack until the checkered flag flies. And I'll tell you what, Kinsley, Smith, Teft, Honeycutt, these guys doing a great job as they continue to command the front of this piece. But Stephen Hines continues to give them fits as he has that Black Rifle coffee machine in that 4th place position.
And real quick, our biggest mover here so far tonight is that 42 of Kevin. You know, he is currently in 4th place at this moment of time. Actually, nope, 5th place at this moment of time. And he has gained 20 positions since the start of this race. And then the other driver I want to shout out here is actually going to be Bradley. Over just on lap 67, ran the fastest lap at a 45.148 for the new time of fastest lap here tonight.
And that is uncorking a missile in the next gen car. I mean, when you're sub 45.20s in this next gen, you are out there giving it the business. That was a great lap. And that driver also having a fantastic run here. Again, as you can start to see the intensity dial back here a little bit as these drivers have got a good dose and a reminder of what happens here at Daytona if you get a little too rowdy out there on the racetrack. So certainly you see in that discipline right now being shown out there as we still have plenty of time in this race for potentially just about anything to happen as we're currently working lap 69 and officially getting ready to write that into the history books as we come across the start-finish line and get ready to do it all over again as we're single file virtually through the field right now.
Yes, they are. Right now we're on board just on our, just kind of a angle, this is kind of our gyro cam, showing you the banking that there is here at Daytona. You know, I know it doesn't really show justice and how much of a banking there is here, and even when you're on the front stretch or in these corners. but it is such a big incline on these corners. It is very crazy, especially if you ever went there in person, of how much you try to walk up these corners. And right now, this camera is showing you a perfect example of how it looks here on board with Steven right now.
And Brandon, you hit the nail on the head. I'll never forget the first time I went to Daytona International, USA. The first thing that attracts your eyes is the banking here and these monstrous turns. It almost looks like something you would see, on a big-time roller coaster. That's just the feeling you get when you see how steep and how high up there you get, especially if you're at the top of the fishbowl. I mean, you are up there in the nosebleeds, and it is something you will never forget. If you've never had an opportunity to see Daytona firsthand, I highly recommend you go there and check it out. Nothing like seeing that racetrack in person for the first time.
Most definitely. Well, I'd see in the chat right now, Steve's saying come on too. And then also, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I do apologize. Carmel out there, come on 81, keep being strategy till the end. And right now, Billy in that number 81, having a great run, holding currently 12th place, and he's in that perfect spot right now, just being patient. And you're definitely right out there in the chat, being very I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Strat. Oh my goodness, man. Strategy.
Just gonna strat it. We're gonna strat it and strategy it, and then strategy it some more. That's what we're gonna do.
Exactly. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I just butchered that.
It happens, folks. You can butcher pretty much anything. Hey, we're doing this real-time, unscripted. Sometimes mistakes just get made. It happens.
Sometimes you just pull things out of nowhere, and you kind of surprised, where did that come from? But while I say that, since we have a quick moment of time, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors here real quick, because I actually forgot to mention this earlier. But Sheath Underwear, use promo code NOLIFT, NOLIFT to get 20% off. Also, the barbecue beef sauce, head on over to their Facebook or website, order you some barbecue sauce. My opinion, better than Sweet Baby Ray's. They have multiple different flavors. I would recommend to try it. Also, to Delta Tire, being a local sponsor here in Burton, Michigan. We love to support our local sponsors. If you want new tires, front end alignments, brakes, things like that, head on over their Facebook or website and let them know that you would love to have their local business work on your car. They can help you out. Also to Dubby, if you want some energy drink, it's a powder. They have crazy different flavors. Once you go to checkout and put down Redline as a promo code, you can get 15% off. So thank you to Dubby coming on board here on Redline Racing Network.
Only that, also have to shout out Black Magic, official design partner here, part of the Strategic Family Alliance. You're looking to put some new vibe in your ride, get out of the static, go see the guys at Black Magic, and remember, it is good for 2/10 out there on the racetrack. And again, I want to thank everyone for joining us along here for the ride on Redline Racing Network. And if you can smash the like button, ring the bell, help us support the cause and get us to that first milestone of ours as we close in on 1,000 subscribers. We'd appreciate the help. And hey, you'll get notified each and every time Racers Elite is live in prime time. You won't miss any of the high-flying racing action. You just got to smash the like button, ring the bell, and that way you'll get notified each and every time they're duking it out.
Man. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, but we have a wreck.
Tell you what, he got treated like a redheaded stepchild.
Woo! I see the 89 getting a little. I don't know what just happened. I saw in the far corner of the screen here. We got to rewind this and see what happened, Matt, because maybe I really don't know what just happened.
Well, I know on the side of that race car it says chipped, and he took a couple big time shots there that he's gonna absolutely clobber. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Oh, the back of that race car is wounded. It is crabbing, and he turned the 9 into a splatty patty as he tried to go by.
Yeah, I was kind of watching on board. I don't know who that was exactly, but that could have been definitely
Newman. That was Josh Newman that got used and abused there after Bradley got served a 1-2-3 whack-a-mole. And I didn't think he realized that he had Bluetooth rear suspension on that race car, and he fed a little bit of wheel, and the car just took off on him, and the 9 of Newman was at the wrong place at the right time.
Looking back at the chat real quick, Matt. I got Storm out there. Synchronized spin. Love it from the driver of the 54. Heck yeah. That's going to be one of those talks that we're going to always talk about, Matt. Every broadcast of that synchronized spin. That was just phenomenal.
You know, there's been certain times, and I'm sure you can attest to this, where we've seen things happen, and we go, we'll never see that again, and then something else happens and it outdoes that. Watching the real-life symphony of carnage, 2 cars simultaneously dying and wrecking together and doing it perfectly, step for step, throughout that wild ride is something I will always talk about and will always have video footage of it. Thank God, that was absolutely one of the craziest things I have ever seen in iRacing earlier here tonight.
I was watching the race off of pit road there. That was beautiful to see. I see Storm out there. Car is toast after that last wreck. And unfortunately, but I'm so sorry that your car got toast there. But man, it's been a crazy show to see and all this craziness happen. Whew, man.
Yeah, appreciate Storm out there sounding off in the chat. I got to back him up. That car is absolutely smoked. It is ready for the scrapyard here. And we still have north of 20 laps remaining in this one. And Brandon, you know, don't forget, if we have to go into overtime, we have 2 green-white checkers available if we can't get to a natural finish here under green flag conditions. So that's something else that we have to keep in mind as well.
And that, you know, that changes a lot of things too. You know, if it's kind of where do you want to be if something happens type of deal. Knowing that, hey, we still got, you know, green-white checkers, and, oh, man, I'm happy I'm not on there, down on the track right now, because I would make the wrong calls. I would be the one that's in the back, and I'd be the one that's actually in pit. Ooh. Grinding the wall a little bit, trying to get around some drivers here. Look, a couple drivers were a little higher than they wanted to be, and that's, I believe, a lap traffic getting around there and collects the wall a little bit. Unfortunately, that was definitely going to hurt him a little.
He's just trying to shave some weight off of that car here for the final push here of this race.
Well, I do see the blue car. I'm trying to see who that was. Is now going to get the waiver or the drive around to catch back to the end of the field here. While we're watching now, I believe that was Bradley that was getting back to the field now. But we got Brandon and Kensley going to be leading the field here to the green flag. I'm excited to see we've seen these two together, but the other question or the other thing though, we do not have Andrew. You know, he's back in 7th place where he gave that little bit of a gap for Brandon to come back down, even though Brandon's leading the field to the green flag though.
Yeah, that was a big time favor being executed there out on the racetrack. And I'm not sure we're going to see that again. You never know. But, hey, time is running out. The burning of the midnight oil. And we talked about it earlier. You know, the showmanship, the give and take, that is about to be gone and dusted for the remainder of this race. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. Does the 98 continue to hold up traffic and allow Dinsley Smith and Brendan Honeycutt get their reshuffle their order, let them get back in line. Still under caution, but it's getting ready to go back to the good part here on Red Line Racing Network as we get ready to go back to green flag action.
Most definitely, and you know that pace car is going to take that hard left here at Daytona. Flagman going to start dancing up in his box. with only 23 laps to go. Coming to the line, we're going to be bringing it to 22 laps. It is almost go time for most of these drivers. And right now, before we go green flag, we have currently 23 drivers on the lead lap here tonight out of 27. Pace car is in. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, in the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out, and beautiful start by that number 40. The 15 staying up high. He's going to be side by side by himself. Now a little bit of help. And the 15, ooh, that was a strategy call right there. Brand's like, hey, go ahead, get around, I'll push.
Yeah, get around. Go ahead. Tracy, come out there, and if you get it, come down to the bottom, I'll be there waiting for you, buddy. Almost make it easy. I can tell you what, leading here late at Daytona on these restarts, it is everything that you don't want out there on the racetrack. It's so easy to just get smoke screened. You know, usually you're the sitting duck when you're a leader, and just because of the way these cars get back up to speed. And once again, Kensley Smith, with the help of his battle buddy, Brandon Honeycutt, making it look easy out there as they command the bottom lane. However, don't look now, but the 21, that Dark Horse Mustang, he's starting to make some noise on the high side of the racetrack. In fact, it's a pair of Fords on the top shelf.
And this is kind of an event that we haven't seen much tonight because the inside has been dominant, but we have an outside line, and we are double file all the way through from the beginning to the end here in this pack. And this is where it gets dicey because now there's not much room to make a mistake, and you know, you do not want to be going up high, down low, up high, down low, and screw people's races, and we almost go 3 wide.
I'll tell you what, the 40 has uncorked the rocket and turned on the Saturn Flea and has set it to kill because he has picked up Kensley Smith and he has given him the business as these guys have hit the afterburner. Oh, it is the smoke show with an incredible save by that Camaro. He may need a new race suit and probably a Code Brown moment inside of the cockpit of the race car. He probably can't even figure out how that car's still on the racetrack. What an incredible save under green flag conditions. Is here we go. The Fords going for it all here. The first time they're taking it to the point. Oh, and Kensley Smith has other plans as he sends Craftsman on the master of disaster as he sends it head on into the fence.
Back to the replay right now. I kind of hit the button at the wrong time here, but man, let's see what just happened.
And it just scraped myself up off the broadcast booth floor.
A little bit of, I believe, wrong place, wrong time. The 2 goes for a ride. Mowing some grass out here for us tonight. We definitely appreciate that, but man, that number 50 of Terry, hard hit on the inside line, and you can tell, wheel damage. He cannot steer that right now.
Oh, no, that car, I mean, let's just say he got set on a ride that he didn't want to go on, simulation or not. So that's going to start off the chain of bad things to come. And then if you go a little bit further on, you're going to see, I mean, the 40, had so much fury uncorked with that push to the 15. They had such a head of steam coming, though that Craftsman machine thinks he has all day to come down the racetrack, and he absolutely gets smoked by Kensley Smith. He takes it down to the flatlands, and that turns his cart into a Larn Javelin, and he comes right up the racetrack, making head-on contact with the outside safer barrier, still picking his teeth up off the cockpit floor.
He definitely was. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Too much for tires and auto repair? Come see my family at Dr. Tire.
We carry nearly all brands of tires,
Including Michelin, Continental, Bridgestone, and Mastercraft.
and we have one of the largest inventories in Genesee County.
Raise a quote. We will beat it.
We offer many services including lifts, wheels, engines, brakes, and more.
Plus, on most of our jobs, we offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty.
Come see our family at Delta Tire.
Where we'll save you money.
Sauces are made from scratch using quality ingredients to create a truly delicious barbecue taste. Try our original Beast sauce, sweet with a kick. Turn up the heat with Spicy Beast, Hot Beast, and Carolina Beast. Or experience the award-winning taste of our Curry Beast and On the Bay Beast sauces. Owned and operated locally by the power of women veterans, these quality sauces are versatile and made for everyone. Great for grilling and the perfect way to complement your favorite foods. Barbecue Beast, the exceptional barbecue sauce.
All right, we are back after the commercial break with 18 laps to go here at the Racers Elite special event on Redline Racing Network. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see quite a few of you out there tonight. Appreciate everybody tuning in and having a great time out there like we are. And this has been a show that we love to watch, and we've had some crazy action happen. And it's not over quite yet. You can see a couple drivers right now like Rick in the 21. He came down pit road 6 laps ago. He started in 14th, so he's gained 13 positions. With that driver right behind him, Jimmy Reynolds in that 17. What's fascinating to see, he's gained 19 positions since the start of this race. He started in 21st and currently now in 2nd place. So we have a little bit of a change of drivers here, Matt, that are now up front, because right now Brandon and Kensley are in 3rd and 4th. So with that being said, pace car lights are off here, getting ready to go back green flag racing under the lights of Daytona. And it's basically going to bring it to 16 to go once we cross the line. That pace car will take that hard, beautiful left into pit road. And let's watch these drivers. But here's the question. Is somebody going to be eating a bologna sandwich on this restart? Because that 17's got to be paying attention of the 21. Once they get to that Geico restart zone is when to get onto the gas pedal and not make a mistake. Do not want to miss a gear. Do not want to spin those tires. And you don't want to be eating a bologna sandwich where the whole inside line is gone and you're still just kind of sitting there. With that being said, though, I'm looking at the field. We have 20 drivers on the lead lap right now. Terry brought it into the infield 1 lap ago. Kevin also, I believe, still sitting on pit road. I could be wrong. No. Yes, Kevin's still sitting on pit road right now, getting all that damage all fixed up. He's definitely not where he wants to be right now. But with that being said, I see Steve out there in the chat, 12. Got some ground to make up. Let's go. And I know that was a little earlier during the chat. I wasn't able to say that for how crazy it was going. Well, let's see what's going to happen on this start and who's going to make those moves. Because right now, 3rd and 4th place, what will they do? They've been working together this whole night so far, helping each other out, give and take on these restarts. They got some drivers in front that they're not used to. What will they do?
You're about to find out here on Redline Racing Network. Is green flag back in the air? Let the games resume as we get ready to settle it here for up to $100 going. If you snag a podium, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, that's what counts here. And look at this, Brandon. For the first time tonight, Team Shake and Bake has been separated as Kinsley Smith runs the bottom. The 40 stock up to the top side of the racetrack where money hides the cookies.
Ooh, a couple drivers right now, 3 wide, someone down below the yellow line. That could be very dicey, very scary, especially if you're higher up, and there's still 3 wide into the corner here, 1 in the middle. He is clear. That could have been a very scary moment.
Yeah, big-time moment out there for Nathan Emerson, who got put where the sun doesn't shine out there on the racetrack. Oh, 3 wide here again. Look at the 1 dialing up the octane there as he sends it from the black hole. Usually that middle lane, that's the sucker hole, and you avoid that at all costs. He's driving towards the Sound of Tyranny and making it work as he still continues to climb the ladder, going through the middle. What a piece of driving here by Nathan Emerson. How bad do you want it right now?
Right now, I tell you what, I do not want to be where they're at right now because I am literally biting my nails because this is getting very intense, knowing that we're going 3 wide and how scary this is going to get. And they're still keeping a green flag with 15. We're going to be bringing in 14 laps to go.
Oh, we got problem. It's a 1-2 whack-a-mole again off the top shelf of the racetrack. Someone goes John Deere mode through the grass. Oh, Kirby Wayne Scott, he's going to take another trip up into the safer barrier. All this while we are currently still green out there on the racetrack.
And we are. He's going to try to get it back going. Not what he wanted to see, but he was out. We always want to give a shout out to the drivers helping the groundskeepers mowing the grass out there tonight. They always think they always get every single strand of grass out there, but I believe he helped get it all.
Sometimes when you're in that race car going over 200 miles an hour, you just see that one blade of grass that they missed. Sometimes you just have to go down there and take care of business. And obviously it doesn't always happen like that. But let's face it, going John Deere mode right now is probably not what they had in mind. However, I can tell you that Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt have somehow found their way back together in a matter of no time. If I was any of these other guys out here on the racetrack, I would try to do whatever I could to split these two cars apart. Because let's just face it, when they get hooked up, these guys are hard to dethrone. They remind me of Michael Waltrip, and I know normally the 15 has the Napa scheme on the race car. Tonight he's throwing it back to Martin Truex Jr., in his final ride paint scheme, but I would be trying to keep these two drivers away from each other. In the words of the offspring, you got to keep them separated. That would be my main goal right now.
Well, in that third place car, though, that number 1, we've seen him take the middle quite a few times, and that's a spot that a lot of drivers do not want to be in, but he has done it, and if he can, he might be the one that will actually get them separated and try to work himself in through the middle and get to the front.
Too bad we can't play the song in the background. It would be really good backfill for this racing going on, but copyright infringements and all that legal stuff, we don't want any of it. But I'll tell you what, you have a good point there, Brandon. And I think it's going to take some strategy and perhaps a perfectly timed move if you're going to want to get around Brandon Honeycutt or Kinsley Smith here. Or, hey, does last lap things take these guys out of the race? When everyone's beating and banging, trying to go 4 wide, sometimes you can get caught up in it as well. And that's why I always say it's never over until the checkered flag flies. And you're going to have the coverage right here to the end, all the way to the checkered flag, as the 15 and the 40 continue to be welded together at the point. Emerson currently owns that 3rd place position. Trevor Woodward, Andrew Taft, and Rick Martin, Hensley, and Jimmy Reynolds just on the outside looking in as the laps continue to wind down here at the big house. Now just 9 laps remaining.
Right now, too, I want to point out is with Kinsley and Brandon, right now they're thinking, all they can think is, oops, we did it again. And that's what they're doing, back and forth, hooking back up and helping each other out. Like you say, now it's time. With just 10, you said 9, but I'm showing 10 laps to go. All that practice of going from the front to the back to the front again, and making those, what can I do? This is where it's going to show, and this is the prime time of watching all that action happen because it is crunch time.
It is crunch time, and yes, oops, he did it again. I love the Britney Spears reference here late in this race. As the action is really going through the stratosphere here right now. You can see these Fords trying to get grouped back up and cycled together on the top shelf of the racetrack. Remember, that was the first group of cars that were really able to go out there and dethrone the 15 and the 40 from the top spot, and they're getting ready to do it again as they got a big head of steam on the high side.
Well, you know how we were talking about silent but deadly, right? I know you mentioned somebody earlier, and right now, the other one I was thinking was this guy right in the back of the field just riding it out, and he's been kind of just being patient all night long, and he's in this pack, but he's staying there. I don't want to count him out because I think this is the point of silent but deadly. Here he is, that number 81 of Billy. I think he's in a very, very smart and very good spot right now, Matt.
Well, typically when I hear silent but deadly, I think it's going to be very difficult to breathe for the next couple of minutes, but that's not what we're talking about here. But Billy Hensley, I think he is, the silent assassin right now. We haven't talked about him a lot. He likes it that way, doesn't want to take a risk on invoking the broadcaster's curse. Let's face it, sometimes that force can be strong with us, but he's potentially in the catbird seat as we're single file here. This field kind of strung out now. You have the first 9-10 cars here in line. They're all going to have a chance to duke it out here for the win. The only thing that's going to get the rest of this field back up will be a yellow. And if we did get one of those, that could certainly push us into overtime as we're on the cusp of the gentleman's handshake lap. Just about 5 to go here left in Daytona.
And, we're silent but deadly, but he could be our ninja of the night, too. You see him now, and it's kind of like back on Talladega Nights. What is it? You see me now, or help me out here, Matt. Not the shake and bake verse, but the other line. Probably. Brain fart.
I left the pause there on it. I left you hanging there, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Got to try to add another layer of comedy there when you can. But as you're, as everyone in the chat right now is praying to good Lord baby Jesus for their driver to win, I'll tell you what, the time we've been talking about it all broadcast long, and it has come down to now. Get ready to crown a champion here tonight, and remember, top 3, snag a podium, you snag some cash. And right now, Smith, Honeycutt, and Emerson got it. Woodward, Teft, and company trying to come up with a plan to dethrone those guys as we get ready to take another lap off of the board here at Daytona.
Well, Stan, does he have a plan? Let's see what's going to happen with just 5 laps to go here tonight. So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, give us a like and a follow on our YouTube and our Facebook side of things. We'll get our situated more later on, but we can stream to both platforms here in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. But don't give us some love to these drivers and the leagues and these special events that we're watching right now.
Tell you what, if this was real life, we'd be having a big time problem with the Toyota delay this much. We've seen what happened earlier in real life NASCAR this year because of it. Could you imagine what the outcome of the aftermath would be if you seen a race like this in real life with Ford and Toyota just doing everything they can to work together and hold off the field? But as I say that, hey, we found another boogie with a hoodie right there in the high side lane, and that is the Ford doing all the pushing to that 81 as he's going to try to push it back down. He can't clear him. It's a 3-way sandwich at the top. Kinsley Smith gets wadded up and spit out, and what has happened here at Daytona is Mr. Perfect, the guy that executed a virtually flawless race, has been hit not once, twice, but 3 times, and has potentially taken himself out of contention here. I can't believe what we just witnessed.
Well, the crazy part is, I see in the chat, the ride along with the 81. So as soon as I get onto the board with the 81, we're looking at the back of his car. And we just watched all that happen on board with the 81. And that was crazy to see. You can see right now the 21 giving the push to the 81. And I believe this is where it's going to be at the wrong place, wrong corner that you don't want to get into.
And we've seen this earlier. They had such a big time run on the high side of the racetrack, but I'll tell you what, when Brandon Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith want to go, they have a way to just hit this extra gear, and they hit it, and the same thing that happened earlier in the race, unfortunately, happens again. Hesitated a little bit, could not complete the lane shift. Contact was made, the fuse gets lit, and the bomb goes off here late in this one.
That is for sure, man. Whew. And that definitely hurt quite a few drivers there. but question is, who had the perfect time to hold on to a fast repair and not have used it to be in that perfect spot here with basically a green and white checker?
Well, we know Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith have not used theirs yet, so they're going to have theirs in the back pocket. Here's where it gets interesting. Everyone on the lead lap now is going to be racked, stacked, put back on each other. You're going to have to do something you haven't done all race long, and that's go from the back all the way to the front. And maybe 2 attempts here, so going all the way in overtime, going for 2 green-white checkered finishes here, perhaps helps you because you have all that track position that you need to try to make back in virtually no time at all.
Definitely. Well, man. So, with that being said, right now, 17 drivers on the lead lap right now. Now with the caution out, we're going to get everybody close together. Because with that incident earlier, with no caution that came out at all, we had a lot of drivers get separated. This actually came into a great opportunity for the drivers that got involved that were, oh man, what the heck. Now they're back up front. Now this is where this is going to be crazy. We're going to see. I really don't know what we're going to see.
All I know is hold on, folks. Grandma's got her life alert in one hand, her kernel-free popcorn in the other. She's cheering on the 98. She's been sitting beside me, fired up all race long. And I'll tell you what, this is Daytona racing playing out at its finest. One side of the coin, you have drivers that feel rejuvenated. They got some extra fire inside the cockpit of that race car right now because they know they have a shot. They're back in it. Other drivers that were just involved, that have ran a perfect, near-perfect race, Honeycutt, 10th, 15, all of a sudden now, they're going to be put in a situation here that they haven't been in all race long. They're going to have emotions, everything dialed through the stratosphere here, and we're going to have to go into overtime. The winner going to have to go full-blown high-stakes Las Vegas mode with a little help from Lady Luck to put it into victory lane here. But I'll tell you one thing I do know is any of those 17 drivers have a chance to do it.
Well, I think right now Brandon in his mind is, you can't touch this. And he's going to try to have nobody be able to touch this and take off.
Drop the hammer. I got it. I see where you're going with that.
Hey, since we started, I'm throwing any of those song lyrics out there and see if we can do it.
Like it, buddy. Having a good time with it. I apologize. My voice is checking out on me. I also DJ in real life, and it feels like I got 100 grit sandpaper in the back of my throat, so I'm trying to hang on here with you. And again, we appreciate all of you, and also Racers in League for letting us help out on the broadcast initiative. This is a really big league, a lot of great racing here, and we are absolutely ecstatic for the opportunity to help fill in some of the gaps here this week, as it's been back-to-back nights of really great racing back-to-back here over the course of this week for us, Brandon.
Hey, definitely, your voice is definitely getting a little bit worse the longer this race goes. But, Matt, we appreciate you trying to hang on as best as you can. But with the green-white checkered pace car, it's about to take a hard left and have a green-white checkered situation. If we can, we may see another caution come out, because you never know. It is Daytona.
That is it. It is absolutely Daytona. As my voice tries to die off peacefully into existence, hopefully it survives here. So I'm going to try and make it last as long as I possibly can. Here goes that iRacing.com pace car. Send him down pit road. Barney's got that green flag back in the air, back on the loud pedal, back to the business. Great restart here for the 40 here, but you don't want to get too far out in front.
Apologize for the alarm going off. Got a structure fire, but it's all right. We're going to stay here watching all this with 2 laps to go side by side for second and third.
Side by side for second and third, as the bottom lane right now has the numbers, but that high lane is trying to get more organized, and here they come. And the driver you mentioned earlier, here comes Emerson, trying to circle the wagons as he is up to third and still charging here on the top shelf of the racetrack. He's got the 4 in tow.
Definitely. Oh, got 3 wide going on the high line all the way up. Ooh, that could have been very dicey, but here we go, Matt. White flag is out here tonight.
We're not going green, white wreckers. There it is. It's too late. As half the field gets chewed up and spit out, but we've already taken the white flag, so eliminate some of the competition. These are the boys that are going to be fighting for the money, honey, tonight in prime time. It's Emerson. Mark, man, where did he come from? It's a 2x2 side-by-side, 4 in a fair. Pitch a blanket over these guys as we're 3 and 4-way racing into the turns, 3 and 4 complex for the final time.
They are. This is going to be getting a little dicey, knowing that there's not many drivers. Oh, a little bit of a woo. Oh man, this is getting dicey now. But right across the line, I believe Nathan in the number 1 was able to get it.
Nathan must have heard Brandon on the broadcast and dialed up the fury and dethrones Honeycutt Company. How about Mark Mann with the plan at the end gets second, and Honeycutt, he's going to walk away with some money as well. And the guy said, you cannot script this. Where did Mann and Emerson come from? As he's going to win the race, Mark Mann's going to find himself in the money, and Brandon Honeycutt certainly deserving of that third place finish, as he was a strong force to be reckoned with all night tonight.
Well, real quick, we're going to watch the replay since we got a quick second. You can see on the bottom of your left of your screen, that's where the contact made, and it was accordion effect afterwards, and a lot of drivers, and oh, very hard. Oh, car on its side even.
Yeah, we went full-blown nitro circus here on the final lap. Travis Pastrana eating your heart out. And I'll tell you, that's the most infuriating thing, especially in a money race, where you keep yourself into contention and then you watch your hopes and dreams evaporate in front of you on the final lap of the race. I'll tell you, that gets me every time. I'd rather wreck out, early in a race than be in it almost all the way to the end and come up a little bit short. But again, Daytona doing Daytona type things. Another great performance by all these drivers tonight, though.
Definitely. That was a great race. That overall, the outcome of the race was crazy. It's always crazy on these types of races. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our post-race show of the night here tonight. And these drivers for the top 3 are going to be coming home with a little bit more money, like Matt has said, in their pocket. Matt, I am excited to see who we can talk to and how they are exactly feeling here tonight.
Well, I can tell you this, they're feeling alive and all is well, if your last name is Emerson, Mann, or Honeycutt. These drivers certainly found a way to steal one, especially the front 2, as, they were at the right place at the right time, made the right moves. And I don't want to say they stole one, but they definitely hijacked some positions there on that final lap as the big one happened. And then Brandon Honeycutt, a driver that always performs well at super speedways. No surprise to see him in the money as we give them a minute to celebrate with their teams as they get ready to join us here at our post-race coverage right here on Redline Racing Network. One of those drivers is ready. And Brandon, while we wait for those guys, what did you think of that show they put on the racetrack tonight?
I honestly, some of it made me so speechless. The wrecks that we've seen, the different, how everything happened, the accordion of beautiful technique of going sideways together, going straight together, getting back on the track together. You can't put words to that. And how the outcomes of how many lead changes we've had, how many different strategies these drivers were trying to do, and we've seen the packs kind of get separated, come back together, and the how much work these drivers have put together to help each other out. And like we've seen Brandon and Kensley working together for most of the night. It's just absolutely impressive for how much these drivers have, how much talent these drivers have, and it was just amazing to watch tonight.
Absolutely, well said. And while we wrap that segment up, I believe right now we only have one driver available, but nonetheless, that is your winner tonight. And Brandon, joining you now in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, welcoming tonight's winner, Nathan Emerson. Welcome to the Red Line Racing Network's broadcast booth. You're live with Brandon.
All right,
Hey,
Nathan.
how's it going?
Well, bud, it's going great because look at you, able to come home richer here tonight and get yourself a win. And bud, I brought your name up because you took that gutsy call about I would say 10 to 20 laps ago to go right through the middle, making it 3 wide. And I'm like, man, if he can get there was Brandon and Kensley separated, he's got a very good chance. And look at you, able to do it, get yourself in a good spot. Tell me what's going through your mind right now.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I knew kind of when I made that move. I mean, it was a pretty gutsy move, but I felt like I kind of just had to take whatever opportunity whenever I found one. So it was definitely pushing it a little bit, but I mean, it worked out in the end. So, I mean, I don't know. It feels great. This is first ever time I've won like an actual broadcast race. So I mean, I don't know. It's all kind of crazy and new to me. So I'm just glad to, be a part of it. And thank you guys and Andrew for putting everything on. I had a lot of fun.
It definitely
Well, really,
was. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
really quick, I'm going to stop it right here. You just doubled down, my friend. But not only did you win yourself a broadcasted race, you won yourself a primetime money broadcasted race. And that, sir, is not something people do every day. Congratulations. I'll turn it back over to Brandon.
Well, definitely congrats. And Nathan, for how well and how this turned out, who do you got to give a big shout out to that made this number one possible here tonight?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my two buddies, Hunter and Waylon. I race with them all the time, and they were the ones who kind of got me into everything. And they were helping me out tonight, watching, the stream and spotting for me. So I definitely don't think I could have done that without them. So I just give a shout out to them.
Heck yeah, that's awesome to hear. Well, bud, I'm happy you got your $100 richer here. The ultimate question we all want to know. What you thinking? What are you going to be spending that $100 on here? Are we going to be doing some more iRacing stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna put some of it back into iRacing, but I told Hunter and Waylon before the race start, just kind of joking around. I was like, yeah, if I win the race tonight, I'll take y'all out to breakfast tomorrow. So I guess that's what I got to do now.
Well, definitely. Hey, at least they get a good deal out of it, get some food out of the deal. But I just want to say congratulations. That was a heck of a race. Able to get yourself in a beautiful spot at the end. Avoided all of the big ones that you were able to do. But I hope you have a great rest of the night, and I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and hopefully we can see you again, and maybe we can see you in Victory Lane on one of these special events again.
Yeah, I hope so. So thank y'all again. I really appreciate it. So I hope y'all have a good night and a good rest of your weekend. So thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Nathan, your race winner here, $100 richer, but we don't want to exclude here. Want to give a big shout out to Mark Mann out there in the 04. He was able to bring home P2 tonight, and that was awesome in that, actually, I just realized, in that Batmobile 04. And then our P3 in that number 40, Brandon Honeycutt, able to bring home $100 also. So give him a big shout out here that was able to make that happen too. So I definitely don't want to exclude them. But Matt, what a night, and I had a blast, especially seeing what we just did, and I'm speechless.
First and foremost, I want to thank Andrew Teff for the opportunity to help us, be a part of, the great things that he's doing here at Racers Elite. Just try to fill in and cover some of the gaps. We have absolutely had a great experience helping out past 2 nights back to back. And how about first time winners back to back on both broadcasts? Could be a sign. And you're absolutely right. Nathan Emerson had to go big, dig deep, and he did that out on the racetrack using the sucker hole to his advantage. And he saw what I saw. He saw 2 cars out there, the 40 and 15, just had the formula, had the mojo, and he knew he had to take a risk to try to do something to throw a monkey wrench in their battle plans. And that's ultimately what he did. Mark Mann as well found a way to just, break up their party. And a lot of that has luck to do with it as well. But great execution here. Could not be more happier and thrilled for Nathan getting his first broadcasted primetime win and doing it in a money racing event. So knocking all 3 check boxes off in the first attempt. You don't see that every day. And, this race had everything you would want in a high octane action thriller. You had the drama right from the initial start of the race when Kirby Wainscott, the Colonel, got sent before he even crossed the start finish line. You had the drama. You had some of the feelings and emotions boiling out or in the racetrack, and then you got the overtime experience with a thrilling finish here at the end. I would say they checked all the boxes tonight, buddy.
They mostly definitely have. It was awesome. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning out there tonight. It was awesome to see you, especially having everybody in the chat. I hope everybody enjoyed the show here. Don't forget, we'll be, I don't know, Matt, you got broadcast going on this weekend?
Sunday night, and we'll see if anything happens between now and then.
All right. Well, with that said, though, don't forget we'll be back live on Monday night for the Twisted Chassis Xfinity Series, and then we'll be live on Tuesday for a new league in the Xfinity cars also. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to give us a like and a follow here on our YouTube and our Facebook side of things. Other than that, have a great night, and we'll see everybody later on.